Disciples Women's Ministries is a conduit for diverse connections, empowering each woman to find her voice and live out her call. Executive Director Pat Donahue serves on the General Ministry Cabinet, the DHM Development and PR Committee, the Governance Committee of the General Board, and on the Junia Council with counterparts from other denominations. Inspired by participation in the UN's Commission on the Status of Women, there's a continued and renewed focus on women's empowerment, including a 5-part class in partnership with Disciples Seminary Foundation. Program Director and Merger Staff Chesla Nicholson continues to update and improve the Leader Apprentice Program to continue to provide leadership training for women of color. Past graduates are now serving across the Disciples Church. We are currently in the process of developing a similar program that will focus on young women, middle and high school age, to include not only leadership training, but also financial responsibility and body and personal agency. Disciples Women continues to use hashtag DWConnect as a means of better understanding the value of shared stories, resources, and concerns. Recognizing the strength of being connected to one another helps to provide for the needs of women throughout the United States and Canada. Disciples Women can discover the ministry and mission of other women by searching for the hashtag. The Her Story tree symbolizes the understanding that Disciples Women share common roots but are constantly reaching higher. We celebrate that we are in different seasons of our lives, yet joined together for greater strength. Our shared story and connected lives provide strength and shelter for one another. This year we established the Her Story Continues Fund, which is an opportunity to be part of this ministry as it continues to train, empower, and resource women of the Disciples of Christ into the future by making a legacy gift. All gifts to this fund will be invested through the Christian Church Foundation in the Bostic Select Fund, named for one of the first women of color to be ordained by the disciples, and is committed to investments excluding those that support fossil fuels, weapons, or companies targeted for divestment for their involvement in perpetuating the Israeli-Palestine conflict. 2019 marks the 145th birthday of Disciples Women, recognizing the Organization of Women in 1874 to initiate the Christian Women's Board of Mission to work in the missions and ministries that were then lacking in the church. This endeavor was organized and managed exclusively by women to serve in both home and foreign missions. We continue in close covenant with Disciples Home Missions and continue in anti-racism, pro-reconciliation efforts and training. Blessing boxes continue to be a spiritual discipline of showing thankfulness to God in a tangible way. Blessing box contributions support Disciples Women and the whole mission of the church through DMF. This year we have debuted a new design for blessing boxes in honor of our 145th birthday. In its 10th year of publication, Just Women magazine, the designated resource for Disciples Women, has begun to publish the Bible study annually without the quarterly additional issues. The theme for 2019 is The Church on a Mission. Because of the change to an annual publication, we are exploring other ways to communicate regularly with our first e-newsletters published this year. Our Woman to Woman Worldwide program facilitates journeys to visit our global partners each year. In partnership with Global Ministries, we prepare delegations for what they will encounter during journeys through study, training, and conversation. This year, the delegation will be going to Morocco, followed by a journey to Southern Asia in 2020 as part of the new Global Ministry Initiative focused there. In 2018, the delegation journeyed to Cuba in partnership and cooperation with Global Ministries and the Caribbean Initiative. Because of generous donors to the Disciples Women Endowment Fund, we offer grants twice a year for new and creative ministries by Disciples Women for the benefit of Disciples Women. This is an opportunity to support innovative ideas that need a bit of seed money to begin, or to support those serving in new ways that benefit women's ministries. Disciples Women in the U.S. and Canada, along with the Disciples Women staff, recognize the need for an ongoing effort and are working to seek justice, peace, equality, and equity as part of who they are and the 145-year-old roots. On behalf of Disciples Women, Pat and Chesla have attended training and rallies like the National Women's March and the Poor People's Campaign, as well as protests for the rights of those whose voices are ignored or silenced. Disciples Women continue to focus on human trafficking and all the vulnerabilities of women and girls that make them targets. Invited by our UCC sisters and sponsored by a generous donor, Disciples Women attended the UN's Commission on the Status of Women. The team gathered a plethora of information on the status of women around the globe and the efforts and progress being made to address and improve many issues. God has been calling women to serve since the beginning of Christ's ministry. The women have kept the church focused on mission and care for God's people through their understanding of what it means to be a disciple. The women of the church have found strength through building relationships and organizing their work across the width and breadth of the church. Our connections make us strong and keep us focused on what God is calling us to do and be. Together, we will continue to encourage and empower women to be all that God has created them to be.